Welcome to the Ref Room, hockey talk for referees, coaches, players, and fans.
Broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
With your hosts, Smokin, Silz, and Baumruck.
Live.
The Ref Room starts right now.
And now your host.
All right. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to a new show, a new year, on a new day and a new time. It's Monday nights, 5:30. We're doing this. I'm Smokin, Silz, along with my man, Brad Baumruck. It is the Ref Room, and welcome, everybody. What's going on, Brad?
Not much. Happy New Year to you and everybody else out there. This is definitely a change for me and Scott's day. So, also I noticed when I got in this room, the lighting is much different at night in here than it is during the day. So we're going to have to discuss that, but this is all unforeseen to us. But Happy New Year to everybody. So I'm happy to be here. I know you are. So
yeah, I am. The show's going to take on a new dynamic now because, it's going to look a little different. My studio is dark at this hour of the night, at least during the winter months. And we could probably start drinking beer instead of Diet Coke. So it could be really different. Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, there's lots to talk about. I mean, everybody knows that a lot of people, I should say, know that the show is based out of Chicago, or the Chicagoland area. So, today a lot of things have kicked in to Cook County. Yeah, it's cooked into Cook County. But anyway, we've gone through some changes here in the city starting today with this mandatory, you got to show your ID card if you want to eat or drink, your Vax card. So
vaccination status. Checking at places.
So it's major market. It's going to be interesting. I know I worked last night, and the bar was open after the game, and I saw all the guys belly up with 2 and 3 at a time because after tonight it's closed.
They'll just hang out in the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the rinks have chosen to not serve alcohol or food in a way to not have to deal with this, so that a lot of the players and people probably aren't going to have to go through like being ID checked at the door.
Yeah,
at least that's my understanding. So we'll see how this plays out. It's going to be interesting. But hockey's rolling. We have had some games that have canceled. We've had some pushbacks on certain things. I know I was supposed to have a game on Wednesday, high school game. I don't know if it canceled or if it's because the rink has an AHL team, which is the Wolves that play out of there. So I had heard before that it was possible that they were going to just kind of curtail things for a little period of time because of having the AHL playing out of there, and that is their major tenant. So I don't know if you've heard anything with regard to that or if that was just kind of coincidental. But, I mean, some of the schools are already back to playing. So
so it seems like business as usual. Everybody, it came out from the Chicago Park District rinks first. That was last Wednesday. Literally, you and me got off the show, and it had come out like across the board then.
Yeah,
and
I wish it had come a little bit earlier. It was like, wait till their show is over and send the emails at that point. But, I mean, you had rinks wanting your vaccination card if you were working in the month of January or February. It's like, it's not January, it's not February. I don't even know if I'm on the schedule at this point, and they're asking for it. So, again, I think, hey, personal preference for everybody. What you choose to do and how you want to handle things, that's up to you. But it is something that is affecting everybody in the Chicagoland area right now, at least within Cook County. So
correct.
We have a large number of our rinks are in Cook County. We do have rinks that are
39.
outside of the Cook County area. We have publicly owned rinks that are Park District, and we have privately owned rinks.
39 surfaces there are in Cook County.
Oh, very good. You know the numbers, Brad. You're such a numbers guy. I love it.
Somebody counted it up for me, so I thank them. They went onto the site and checked it out. Oh. Everybody hit that panic button that Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
It was definitely very interesting to see the emails that were going around, and everybody was worried, and everybody just wanted an idea of what to do. Because the biggest thing is, looking from the opponent's standpoint, if it's your home rink, well, you have to practice there, and you're going to spend, 80% of your time there, so you might adjust. what about the teams that are coming in? So that's the biggest thing that I saw, and I luckily enough got an email just a little while ago, and it explained one of our major leagues that if the home teams had too stringent of restrictions for the visiting teams, the two teams then have to communicate, get together, and find a neutral site for the rink. So all the games will be required to play. That is a league rule. They will have to get those games played in somehow and figure it out. Whatever the two teams figure out, it's going to be a manager's nightmare in some areas probably.
Interesting.
But they're going on as business usual. They put in the email. They suggested that teams play weeknight games in order to get through, and also if they had to play a double on Saturdays or Sundays. Play one team.
Good luck with that. If you're going to be able to get enough referees to work doubles and triples for your team, it's hard enough for these guys to get one game in, let alone to get two or three. So that could be interesting.
Yeah, well,
hey, the pilots are getting triple pay if they're willing to go work an extra flight. Maybe there's an idea there, huh? Just saying.
I don't know if that's going to happen. Plus, it would be a logistics nightmare to keep track of all of it.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting, though, because as you mentioned, if that's the case and you are going to be going to some different rinks, I know before when we were having a bit of a situation here, we did have teams when they had their rivalry games moving out and playing in neutral rinks. And I worked last night. I was up on the North Shore, and I won't say what school, but I understand that one of the teams had sold some of the ice time to another organization because they were afraid they were in a park district building that they were going to have some problems. So they sold a few sheets of ice to them to help them out under the circumstances. So, yeah, I mean, teams are going to work together. I know a lot of these teams have good rapport with one another, even though they're arch rivals. They're all in it for the same reason and the passion and the love. So they'll work together and get it figured out, which is great. And that's the bottom line. Hockey's going to continue, which is a good thing, and we'll keep rolling right here. So, if you guys have something you want to add to this, feel free to chime in. If you're just joining us, we welcome you. New time, new day. We're doing Mondays, 5:30 p.m. I'm glad a lot of you have followed us over here. If you're new to the show, please say hello. Put something in the comment section down there. You can say something. And also, there's a link that Brad put in there that you need to click. If you're on Facebook watching us, if you would click that link, then we'll know who we're speaking with, and we can answer your questions. Secondly, please go to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, hit the like button. You can hit the like button on Facebook as well, so you get notified, and we'd appreciate that. So, same bat channel. Yes, Marty Tong, that is correct. We are on the same bat channel, just at
Scott,
a different time, different day.
Since last Wednesday, when everybody was really pushing the panic button, it kind of calmed down after quite a few rinks came out and after their mayors announced that they weren't going to enforce it. And that's been quite a few of the areas where we happen to have rinks. Well, now a lot of these rinks have come out and said, well, we're not going to serve food and drink like you already said.
Yeah.
And we're going to keep playing, and the restriction is, eased. Let's put it that way. So here's my suggestion. If you haven't seen an announcement from that rink and you're going to be a referee there, call the rink. They'll tell you. If they're going to enforce it or not. Because if you get there, what do you do then? If they turn you away. Now, A, you just got turned away. B, now they're short a referee. So, but that would be my suggestion. But it was nice to see after there was a little news article. Well, it was a report. I don't know if you finally checked that out, Scott, but it was at one of the local arenas. And it was on the news, and they had kids that were out there my kids' age, which are 9 and 10, with their bags and stuff, and they weren't letting them in the building. And the parents were outside in the parking lot, and
was this at a city location?
This was a city location. We're not going to say the name.
Yeah, I am familiar with that. Okay, I did hear something about that. So. Yeah.
So it kind of, I think that's probably going on not just in our hockey community. I think basketball plays indoors, volleyball plays indoors. A lot of these things are, either going on, planning on starting. So the parents are kind of like, whoa, wait a minute. Especially hockey, we've been playing now for quite some time. And, there's been some teams that have shut down along the way, and that's all understandable. But it hasn't been, a super wide issue that I've seen.
Well, I find it very interesting. I mean, like Chicago Public Schools went back today, and they were supposed to have had tests, right? On the radio, they said 50% of the tests weren't even completed because shipping the tests or whatever, they couldn't get them back.
More than
They're there. They're able to eat and drink. They go to school. They eat and drink at school. They get lunchtime, right? But everybody else, no, you can't do it. I mean,
I had lunch in a
welcome to
restaurant
Chicago.
today.
That's all I can say. It's crazy. Crazy times. Anyway, that's funny. Sebastian says, no more peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Not at
That's
this
a good
late
one.
hour.
Yeah, that's been a thing. We're going to have to come up with a dinner item that Brad doesn't like now. So
That's going to be a tough task.
yeah. It'll have to be like, join us with your Miller Lite, and, maybe Brad is more of a Labatt Blue guy. I don't know.
I do like Labatt Blue. I'm not going to lie.
There you go.
But-
I do too. So
No,
and we
so-
might have to. You might have to stop buying us coffee now at this hour. We might have to buy a beer. We might have
We
to
could
change
change
that
it.
up. Yeah, we might have to change that up.
There's quite a few Chicago people that I know referee in Chicago. Has anybody had any issues at any of the rinks? Don't name any of the rinks.
Yeah, I
Scott,
think
you're in Chicago.
yeah. Next week I think will be the big telltale because right now, like I skated last night and we've kind of been off. I mean, it's been a little slow over the last week or so. Nice little break that we kind of needed, but with Christmas and New Year's falling on Saturdays, it kind of messed things up a little bit in terms of scheduling for everybody, and everybody just kind of took a little bit of a break. So, I think in the long run, we're going to enjoy that we got a break there because we could probably use it. I felt really good on the ice last night. I skated 2 games, and, it was great. I mean, all the players were in good moods, no craziness going on. I mean, you got to love it.
I like
They
to
played
hear
hockey.
that.
I had 2 games. They both played hockey. No issues. So that's always a good thing.
Always a positive. I agree with you.
Absolutely.
Any more on this negative? I don't. I think the referees all kind of know what's going on at this point. We're putting our heads down and moving forward. That's the way I'm looking at it.
That's what we do now. That's exactly what we do now. I am in the city, and normally I get out for lunch or dinner or something like that, but today I didn't get a chance to get out for lunch, so I didn't really get to see where this is going and how it's going to happen. But I know one of the major restaurants, like one of the major restaurateurs, I guess, companies, I won't say which one, but I saw emails today with all the requirements they have before you can come in their restaurant. It's like, okay.
Well,
I guess they're trying to head them off at the path before they get there and get turned away, or
well,
whatever.
we'll forgive you that you didn't get to go out there and fight the good fight for us. It
Yeah,
was
well,
cold.
I'm still hoping to get out either tonight or for sure by tomorrow. I'll get out. Trust me. I'll have something to come back with next week on the show. That's for
I gotcha. Well, it's cold out here, but how cold was it up for the Winter Classic?
Man,
I don't know if you've seen the photos of these guys.
I got to tell you, usually we look forward to the Winter Classic every year. I didn't hear anything about the Winter Classic this year, like leading up to it. I know we're busy with hockey and everything. St. Louis and Minnesota, I don't know what the deal was. I heard it was really cold, but I was home New Year's Day. I flipped channels. I saw some of, was it the Hawks
There was
that
a
were
lot of
playing?
games.
The Hawks had
There were a
game,
lot of games.
but I didn't see any Winter Classic on there. I was like, what's going on here? Shouldn't there be a Winter Classic game going?
It was on TNT.
Oh, see.
So maybe that's why you didn't know where to
That's
look
the other
for
thing.
it.
Well, NBC, I think it all switches to USA Network now, right? Even
Yeah,
the Hawks
they-
games go to USA now.
I believe
So-
so. They
so-
closed down the NBC Sportsnet,
Yeah.
studios.
Yep.
So that's a Comcast sacrifice there because that's the
Yeah.
sports Comcast. That was their idea and wasn't doing too well. So they went a different way, and that happens.
It's too bad, but it may end up working out well because if the NHL ends up on larger networks with a bigger audience, it can only help grow the game. So we'll look at it from a positive standpoint, and hopefully that'll play out very nicely, and the networks will be happy to have hockey because it is going to be interesting, like with what's going on. I don't think the NHL is there. Did they decide they're not going to the Olympics, or are they going?
Nope, they are not going.
They're not going. Yeah, I kind of figured they weren't going to go.
Yeah,
they didn't want to go in the first place. Let's be real honest. Some of the players wanted to go, and it's in their contract. I guess it's in the CBA that they can go. But
Yep.
the NHL didn't want them going because all the games are on in the middle of the night. You're going to be 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning in the USA to watch a game. They're not going to get the numbers that they want. They're like, do they really need that? So.
Well, yeah, I think that was the biggest issue. And then when the players started looking at it, if they tested positive, they could be stuck in Beijing up to like 21 days, 28 days. So now you're missing your 2 weeks in the NHL, the time that you have to get there beforehand, and you're stuck there. I don't know if anybody wants to deal with that. So
No, and there's no direct flights back, I'm told, either right now. So it'd be a logistics nightmare to get them out of there, especially for the ones that get left behind at that point.
That would be a big thing.
Yeah. All right. So let's continue. We wanted to do this thing. Samantha had this great idea called Rule Roulette.
Correct.
Roulette. You like that? Rule Roulette? So it's basically, and it's a great idea for you guys to do in the locker room. This is a suggestion that came from her. You kind of pick up the rule book and...
Where'd you put it?
It's right
There
here.
it is.
Look at that. Right there. 2125. You pick up the book and you flip through and you stop. And then you read a rule.
Did it actually stop on the one we
It
picked?
stopped on, so we're going to do slashing.
That's weird.
It stopped on slashing. How about that?
That's what you flipped earlier, too. So.
I know. I hit it twice. So, all right. So you want to talk about slashing? Let's do this. Let's look at slashing, all right? I got to get off camera a little bit here because I got to read this. So I'm finally going to read the book. Apparently, this is one way to do it. But slashing. Well, we're in situation 1. Okay. Team player slashes at an opponent, but only contacts team player's stick, knocking out of their hand. What penalty, if any, should be assessed? A minor or a major plus game misconduct penalty for slashing must be assessed. Rule references 634A and B. The opponent's stick is considered to be an extension of the player, so any slashing action directed at the stick must also be penalized. So I guess we could talk about that. And then here, here's another, like, for slashing, penalty to be assessed, must stick contact be made with the opposing player? And the answer is no. If the object of a slashing motion is to intimidate an opponent or actually try to strike them, stick contact is not necessary in order for a penalty to be assessed. So I guess I could have scrolled on those. My bad here.
You're good.
Let's take you down here because I'm actually looking at the book, and then we've got the mobile. Oh, so I got to go over here if I want to do the mobile.
Yeah, it didn't.
All right,
didn't
so
bring
I
up
left.
the other part. You're good though. Put that back up there because
I will. There we go.
Because let's talk about the minor part of it. Okay, slashing is an aggressive
Here,
foul.
I'll throw that a little for you guys.
Needless to say, but there's a varying degree of why slashing can be a minor or a major plus a game misconduct. Which, Scott, I'll let you make the point that you made earlier. Go ahead about Part B. And how it's written.
Well, yeah. So, are we in situation? Yeah. Here we go. Let's look at it. Now I got to put my glasses on to look at this because I got a different version of it up here. But B, a major plus a game misconduct penalty shall be assessed to any player who recklessly endangers an opponent as a result of slashing. Well, they've changed the language because we now have this recklessly endangered. Which is really good because it really broadens what you're going to call or how you want to interpret the penalty. But I guess
no longer
the big
requires
thing,
an injury.
Yeah, exactly. So, you have a guy that comes back and just puts a two-hander on the legs. I mean, technically, according to this rule now, it's a 5-minute and a game. It's not even a slash at that point because he's had no intention of playing the puck. And that's what I read in the case book, which was kind of interesting because it's like, if you are only going to, just let the guy have one and you have no intention of playing the puck, it's supposed to be a 5.
I get where you're going with all this. You're reading way too literal into it. That's the thing. And I get it. And
exactly.
It's a great one to look at.
Yeah,
you have to look at the varying degree of that slashing penalty. Number one is a minor's easy. The guy's trying to go for the guy's stick whatnot, gets him in the hand. Doesn't hurt him very much. The player, that's the one where you see they whip their hand out and they shake it. That seems to be a new thing. Yeah, of course. It was, they're trying, in the act of playing the puck, they accidentally make contact with the legs. The one where it slashes the guy in the side of the pants, makes that big loud noise, even though they didn't really swing the stick very hard. Minor penalty. Scott, where you're going with this reckless and endangering, I like too, and the situations though. But here's the interesting one that I have is the windmill slash. So that's the offensive player is skating at the defensive player. He beats him to the side. So what the player does is he takes it and he windmills his stick over and he clips the guy in the top of the foot and knocks him down. Okay, that's pretty reckless and endangering. But is there very much injury potential in that call? Or is it just he wants that guy to go down?
Yeah, I think you got a slash, or you might even have a trip in that situation.
There you go.
It's a judgment call.
It's not a 5 in a game, so don't read too literally into it.
Yeah.
Read into the part of where it could be interpreted as a minor penalty because the play, it happened. We all know it happened. Very little injury potential on the play because slashes do happen as you're playing. Yeah. Some guys do mean it, though.
Well, I had a situation, and I've spoken about this on the show before, where I had a men's league game, and a guy swung a stick at a guy, and he missed him completely, and, gave him a slashing call. I'm like, you're going to the box for that. You're going to swing the stick wildly at somebody. It's a penalty. Mm-hmm. The guy couldn't understand it, and he basically taunted me a couple times after I saw him about that because, he just didn't believe me. I'm like, go open up the rule book. It's a mobile rule book. You can read it. It's very clear, black and white. Like, you swing the stick. I mean, do you think that they want players skating around swinging sticks to intimidate people, to keep them away, or just to intimidate them, or whatever the case may be? What are we going to have? We're going to have 10 guys rolling around the ice swinging sticks, and if anybody gets in the area, we got like 2 defensemen that swing sticks, and if you can get through, you're good, and if not, you go getting clobbered.
like Indiana Jones?
Yeah, basically. It's like a pinball game for hockey players going to the slot, Just keep banging on everybody. But, so, it's crazy. Well, let's look at this one because here, situation 3. Now I get it up here on the screen. What criteria should be used to determine when a match penalty for slashing should be assessed? If the swinging of the stick action is deemed to have recklessly endangered the opponent, then a major plus game misconduct penalty or a match penalty must be assessed. The referee will need to use good judgment, and that's the key here, folks. Use good judgment as to the severity of the action in determining when to assess a major plus game misconduct or a match penalty. So,
So the big one is the big cue here is if a guy slashes a guy in the back of the head with his stick, you could go misconduct, match penalty for high sticking, attempt to injure, or even underneath slashing. So they can all be penalized underneath there.
You could also go head contact.
You could. So number one is if a player
probably going to get some of those, okay, if not all of them.
So what they're basically saying is if it's an overt action, okay, you can still recklessly and endanger an opponent accidentally swinging your stick for whatever the process might be. I know that sounds far-fetched. It does happen. I've seen it before where the guy's trying to play the puck or whatnot, and he takes both of the guy's feet out, and the guy goes into the boards, and he's down. And you're like, oh, boy. Yeah. Okay, was the intent there for him to do that, or was he trying something else, or she, however you want to put it?
Right.
And you clip that player. Yeah, you're definitely getting at least a slashing penalty, but a minor doesn't fit to that criteria. And since they've removed the standalone 5-minute major, the 5 in a game would stand there instead. But also, if the player then takes a tomahawk swing at a guy's legs, the backs of them, well, you probably got a pretty good idea there. If it's a baseball swing, they're not playing hockey. There's no other intent there. Match penalty all day. If they swing it at their head and they don't make contact, I'm calling a match penalty and letting it get sorted out.
Yeah.
That falls underneath there of the non-contact. It's not required. Well, it doesn't say that you can't call a match for it either, though. So that's the interesting part there that I have with it, but that's just my take.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and a lot of times on a breakaway situation, you've got the guy that's coming in. Now, is that going to be a match penalty? He's probably going to take a shot at the guy's legs because if he can't reach him and trip him, the best thing he's going to be able to do is try to get the legs. And he really is trying to just take him down in any way he can, but it is going to be a blow to the legs. And now we got penalty shot, so we could have the multiple situation here, which is the one that probably kicks in where you could have the 5-minute major. Well, actually, you see, that's changed because now it would have to be a 5-minute major in a game for the slash.
Yep.
And then the penalty shot.
Yep. They get the penalty shot with the major. The
right.
One that
and the 5-minute major.
The one that it really stands out that you're talking about is where the defenseman's skating behind him in the act of desperation.
Yep.
They jump and leave their feet, and on the way down, they tomahawk the guy in the arm. Okay? That is a last-ditch effort. There's nothing that is going to come good of that. Even if they get the puck away, they can't get it. Yeah. That would always be a standalone 5 before. Well, guess what? Now, it's 5 in a game. They've gotten rid of it, so stick to what it used to be. And if you had a standalone 5 back in the day, guess what? It's now 5 in a game.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Again, that's the one that we've talked about so many times that we kind of miss having that opportunity to only do the 5-minute major. But it is what it is.
It might come back. You never know. Who knows?
Yeah.
Things have been changed before.
This is true.
Just keep using the tools that we have in order to manage the games that we have. And I know I've told a parent along the way, I said, look, I'm going to tell you this. The rule changed. I go, I wouldn't have thrown your guy out before. I go, but I literally have no option. Yeah, I go, it's either changed. A minor or a 5 in a game.
Things have changed, and, the book is different now, and the game is different. It's all about the offense and protect the player, and that's just the way it is. And if you watch the NHL games, man, it's very, very friendly, very soft. And, when we had Tim Peel on the show, NHL referee, he'll tell you, like, the guys are friendly. Like, their opponents, they say hello to each other. How you doing? How was your summer?
League that he saw
it
before.
Is a different way. It's not like, what are you looking at? I'll deal with you in about 15 seconds. It's not like that anymore. It's the game, and everybody wants to play and be safe and be able to get paid and make their contract bonuses and everything else. So it's a kinder, gentler world, and that's we are here to enforce those rules that are kinder and gentler than they used to be, I guess.
Everybody wants to play in the show, and if you get hurt playing in junior hockey or youth hockey, you can't play in the show. It doesn't go away if you have a permanent head injury.
That's for sure.
So that's the big difference, because a lot of people didn't know what we were doing to each other. And the game's gotten so much faster now. Look at all these guys coming out that had concussions and
the speed. I mean, if you look at the game from 10 years ago even to now, the speed of the game, the size of the players, it's major different. Major different. And even after last year, like with everybody, all they did was work out and work out and work out. Those 14-year-old guys are getting pretty damn big.
Yeah, they were much faster this beginning of this year, but also I can accredit that to I hadn't skated any of that hockey really. So it's definitely, a year off for us wasn't the same as the players.
Yeah.
So.
Well, did they take, I don't think they took a full year off, anybody. I mean, they had to be working out. They had to do something. They played. I mean, they didn't play a full season, but they played and they worked out and they worked out some more. And when they got done working out, they worked out some more.
Right.
Because I think last year was different. I mean, I think the players were in such good shape and the skills level were so different because all they did was practice. That's all they could do. So they picked up a lot of skills and it showed out there. This year, I don't know. I feel like some of the teams are a little smaller this year at the higher level in terms of, when you work the midgets and the like the U16, U18s, and even high school, to me, the players don't look as big this year as they did like a year or two ago. They seem like they were bigger. I don't know if that's true, but
you also have another AAA club in the area that's going to take some of those players from those other levels and move them up.
yeah.
So sometimes size helps when you're playing hockey or football or
That's
basketball. You just don't have to hit anybody in basketball. Football and hockey, it becomes a little bit of a thing. So,
Yeah.
But what other situations are underneath that slashing, Scott? Aren't there two more?
Oh,
I can't remember.
I closed the book. Now you expect me to just like go like this and find it again, huh?
Yeah, a little tab or something would have helped out.
Let's see.
Dog,
yeah, actually,
dog,
we've got them here. Let's look at a couple of them. We can go here. I'll put the this back
you got
up
it on
for
the screen.
everybody to see. All right, so we get situation 4. Are you able to read this, Brad? Is it clear enough for you to be able to read? All right, let's have you take this one.
A player swings a stick at an opponent during the course of an altercation. What penalty or penalties may be assessed? I believe it says you just got the last word cut off, but that's okay.
Oh, sorry. Here, I'll fix it.
That's
It
okay.
must be. There you go.
So this is confusing because this is written in the rule book, and it's written a minor, comma, major penalty for slashing and a game misconduct. In the situations, they have clarified it. You can assess a minor for slashing plus a game misconduct during the course of an altercation, which I would say at least if they swing it at the guy during the altercation to make no contact, that's where they're going with this.
Yep.
If they make some sort of contact, let's say it's in the legs or someplace and it's not very threatening,
Now we're going to major.
Major plus a game misconduct.
Yep.
And a match penalty is anything else that you can't think of. The guy clobbers the guy like Killer
Yeah, I was going to say, as soon as the stick gets above the shoulder or, like becomes a tomahawk situation coming down, something of that nature, I would say you've 100% got a match penalty there.
Absolutely. And that's why there's reviews.
Yep.
So, try not to
And that's
hand
the
out
beauty
match
of it.
penalties.
There will be video probably. So, that's
normally
always
is.
good. Should we look at rule situation 5?
Sure.
All right, let's bring this in a little bit so you can read this one. All right, the goalkeeper has frozen the puck with their glove. With an attacking player comes in and makes stick contact with the goalkeeper's glove. The puck comes free prior to the referee blowing the whistle to stop play. Should the referee allow play to continue? And the answer to that would be no, of course, which it says.
Mm-hmm.
Once the goalkeeper has clearly covered the puck, any stick contact with the glove must be penalized as slashing. The puck is considered frozen at the time the referee determines it has been covered and play has stopped at that time, even though it may take a fraction of a second to blow the whistle. And that does happen,
Yeah,
Sometimes.
the one thing I always love about slashing is when they yell, "The whistle hadn't blown yet." Okay, you cannot slash any other player throughout the course of the game. Why are you allowed to slash the goalie because the whistle hasn't gone? I've just never understood that argument. Now, there are going to be instances, though, where an offensive player is going to be trying to hit a puck that a goalie's going to catch, and that player is going to make some sort of stick contact with that goalie in the natural course of the game. That's going to happen, but they're talking about an overt action after the goalie's covered the puck. They come in and they slash him in the top or they poke him with the stick, which you could go with spearing, but that's not the intent of spearing.
Yeah, I don't think that's the intent.
But, it's not the overt. It has to be an overt action to that goaltender covering the puck. If it's during the normal course of play, I think
the
everybody
spearing would
can
have to be
understand.
like the player comes in, the goalie is down, and then the guy just pitchforks him in the neck or the chest, and it's blatantly obvious. Then you 100% have a spearing call there, but that's probably the only way you're going to have a spearing call. You're not going to have it for a poke at the glove. Like, you're going to have a minor for slashing, most likely.
No, I'm with you 100%.
Yeah.
And, if you do have a minor for slashing that you're going to penalize, make it apparent. The worst thing that can happen is an official is, we're going to take a guy to the box, and somebody comes over and clobbers the guy because they didn't know that you were going to take him to the box. If you make an overt action, hit your whistle 1 or 2 times, whatever you're comfortable with. Some people I've seen hammer it more. make an overt point. Tell him to go to the box. Make sure everybody knows that you're taking that guy to the box.
Yeah. It's a good point. That's, again, that's perception. Everybody needs to be able to see what's being called. And, for a lot of the guys, even if we see guys out and when we're evaluating some of the referees, one of the things that we see a lot of, especially at the younger level, you see quicker signals and not everybody getting to see what's being called. And, to command the game and the players and the coaches and the crowd, you need to be able to give really clear, crisp signals. And that is a signal. I mean, if you have guys coming off the bench, you need a signal, something that says you're handling the situation versus just, quietly whispering at somebody.
Well, yeah, if there's,
hand signals are good. And same thing when you're working with partners in a 3-man or a 4-man, if you're a linesman. Signals, don't assume that the guy knows you're bailing or not bailing. Give him a signal. Same thing in the 2-man, you drop the puck and you guys are across from each other. Let the guy that dropped the puck choose where he wants to go for his safety to get out of there. But, give a signal. That's, just part of good communication with your partners.
Yeah,
and with the audience, with the
right.
crowd, the fans. It's communication. It goes a long way.
If they're all yelling in there, 500 people, 600 people, let's say it's that many, right? Even if you're yelling back to the bench, people aren't going to hear you. But this or back, that's an overt action.
Yeah.
Everybody in the building saw you tell them to go back or tell the guy to go to the box.
Late line change, go back. Yep. Everybody now knows why they are being sent back to the bench or why that line change can't complete. There's a reason.
I agree.
So.
It's just like if you can't get a captain to leave. I don't know if you've ever had that problem where they won't go back to their bench, right? So as a referee, I picked this up from a very senior referee back in the day. And I'm lining, and the guy will not leave us alone. And he goes, look, here's how this is going to work. He goes, you see that piece of string on the ground? And the kid goes, there's no string down there. He goes, exactly my point. He goes, I'm going to bend down and pick up that string. When I get back up here, you better be gone. Okay? So he bent down, and the guy started pleading his case again. He goes, I'm telling you, you better be gone by the time I get back up. Because if not, you're going into the box. Well, he got the message that in the whole building, what he just did was told the building he was done with that conversation. But he gave that player enough wherewithal or intuition or however you want to put that, enough warning, let's put it that way, to let him leave. And he did not want to penalize this guy, but he was going to have to. So that overt action of him bending over, everybody in the building knows, what is he doing? He's obviously not talking to him anymore. Why isn't he left? So, just a little trick.
That's interesting. That's a really interesting way of doing it. The only thing I would caution is if the guy's that fired up and you're getting yourself in a vulnerable position, nothing good can come from that. But, you would get your point across, but, definitely.
Gotta read the situation.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it's a trick I learned from somebody that worked much higher levels of hockey than me. And I'll never forget, I was lining for him and he did that. And I'm like, That's a great tip. I never saw a captain that wouldn't leave.
That's a new one for me. I mean, that's one to put in the arsenal. And for all you guys and girls that are listening to the show, that's one to keep in your back pocket because you might need to use that at some point. There are times where you have players that just are relentless. They are not going to stop until they get their way, and we all know they're not going to get their way probably, but nothing good comes from it at that point. They're probably, going to find themselves...
I think the game, too, that we were working, I think there was, 2 penalties, one each way, and it was 3-3 with, a minute and 40 seconds left in the third period. As a referee, you don't want to call that penalty, because they won't leave you alone. Try to find a way to get them to leave you alone so that you guys can continue the game. The rest of the team and everybody doesn't need to be affected.
Exactly.
So, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. Let's see. Karen just chimed in here. Hi, Karen. Happy New Year. Ref last night had to physically move the high school players. What do you mean physically move the high school players?
Maybe you just kind of...
Maybe you can elaborate on that just a little bit.
You gonna wait?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm sure she's typing away.
I'm sure she is.
Maybe you could explain the situation a little bit more so we know why they had to move the players. Was there something going on or what? Was there an issue? Who knows? We'll find out. Karen will update us, I know.
Yeah, quite a few people saying Happy New Year to us. We appreciate
Yeah, exactly.
that.
Yeah, don't forget, we have a new time and new day of the week. So it's Mondays, 5:30 p.m. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/refroom. And that certainly helps us support the channel and pay the bills.
You know what? Actually, I forgot about this. A buddy of mine that I used to work for, we'll just say Brian N, because he doesn't like his name being out there always. Thank you. He chipped us in $25 last week after our last show.
Thank you very much.
So
That's
thank you.
Awesome. Appreciate it. We appreciate all the love and support. And, just the fact that you guys tune in every week. You guys are very dedicated, and we appreciate it. And, we love the conversations. I know Brian has chimed in. Happy New Year to you, Brian, one of our favorites. Hope you're doing well. And I think we had a couple other people that had chimed in, too. So, again, we appreciate your stopping by. And we'll do this Mondays, 5:30 p.m. If you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, please go to YouTube/C/refroom and hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and hit the like button too. That's always good.
There you go.
Did we miss anybody? Let's see. I'm just kind of scrolling through here. Okay, we got a couple things. Tony Farron says they wouldn't separate at all. Of course. Karen, see, I knew she'd get back face off. Teams send out a switch, and they didn't have that right. Okay, now I understand what you're saying. So it was on a line change procedure that it ended, and yes, they actually had to be told to get off the ice more than just told.
Yeah.
It's like,
kind of a redirect with your hand, maybe.
Yep, you're not getting that change.
Yep.
And I love it because, some of the teams think, if home team, if you're not familiar, home team gets the last change. But they have 5 seconds, okay? You have 5 seconds to put your players on the ice. If you want to have that last change, then hold your players till the visiting team puts their players out there. They've got 5 seconds to put their players out there. And if they only put one player out there, that's the end of their line change. And if they decide, we didn't get to finish our line, no, you had your chance. Line change is done. Now it's the home team's chance to change. And if they send 1 or 2 players and then they think they're done and then all of a sudden somebody comes over the board, sorry. 5 seconds is up. That's it.
Got to use some common sense.
Exactly.
The big time that you see this where coaches get upset and maybe parents and players is where the home team dumps one guy right away at the whistle. Like the whistle happens, everybody separates, and they throw one guy off the end of the bench.
Yep.
And then the other team starts their change. Well, this guy's already down there. Well, when the visiting team gets done, they try to throw a different line out there because now they've seen the line. Well, sorry, your line change is already over.
Exactly.
Change one guy.
Yep.
Or they try to throw out, 2 guys from the back door, and then 30 seconds later they try to throw out, the other 3. It's like Las Vegas. Put all your chips on the table at once. No string bets.
Yeah. You have some teams that try to even put too many out there in case they don't like what they put out there so they can change the centers. So, at that point, that needs to be addressed.
You mean where they're throwing 6 out there?
Yeah, they're throwing 6 and they're throwing 2 centers out there and they're waiting and they're making their decision of who they're pulling off. And it gets ugly. It's just it interrupts the flow of the game. I guess that's the best way to put it. Tony says, the classic, I'll put an extra guy out and pick which one to take off. Yeah, we have some coaches that are notorious for this that we know. And we know and we love, but, you have to know who you're working with, and that comes from having some rapport and working these games with experience, and you just have to address the situation. If you don't address it, they'll continue to take advantage of it, and, that's part of their little play. But if you address it, you can nip it in the bud, and, it's better for everybody and better for you, and the game just moves much smoother at that point.
Well, it's actually kind of funny because me and...
it's really? Monday night.
Monday night, every day of the week. You don't know how to use that button?
Only the scammers know how to get through. See? Scam likely. That's who gets through.
I think Tony was on the game with me. It was either him or his brother. And one of the teams we had a couple weeks ago, they did they were the visiting team, and they tossed out 2 guys, and then they waited like 10, 15 seconds. Then they decided to change the next 3, and I wheeled over to their bench, and I'm like, hey, I go, you got to change all of them at once. Yep. I go, not 2, and then 3 later. I go, I don't want it to bite you in the butt later in the game. Well, the one coach goes to the other coach. He goes, don't listen to that. It doesn't matter anyways. Well, 3rd period, about 2 minutes left. They wanted to change an extra couple guys, and I sent him right back. Yeah. And he realized I wasn't playing around with him anymore. He didn't try to argue with me. I'm like, I already told you about this. I go, no change. Have a good one.
Yeah, and you know, at the higher level, it's really important. Coaches really do want that last change in games that are big for them. And a lot of them will tell you, even when you're over there doing your pregame, they'll be like, we do want the last change today. A lot of them will point it out. It happens. Not always, but that is the case. And especially, let's talk about this in a 2-man situation, because you don't always have, a ref over there with his hand up, like stopping the players or whatever. It's more the person that's dropping the puck that's kind of controlling that line change. So, if you're the one that's dropping the puck, you've got to be paying attention that the visitors came off and then the home team comes off, and that's when you hit the whistle. I don't want to say but the more inexperienced referees tend to, blow the whistle and drop, but they're not sure why they're blowing that whistle. They think it's like to alert the scorekeeper, the timekeeper, that you're about to drop the puck. But that's not the case. The whistle is for to end the line change procedure. You want to talk about this a little bit more? Yeah.
Okay, so you get the 5 seconds for the visiting team after everything calms down. So make that determination first. Then they get 5 seconds. After that, the home team is entitled to their 5 seconds. In a 3 or a 4 official system, the referee then will put their arm down, and the lines will hit the whistle. They now have 5 seconds to get into the face-off. Okay? That's where that's all coming from. It's not we're hitting the whistle and throwing the puck down. You have 5 seconds to get in for the face-off. The bad part is they've removed to where you can eject the center for them being late. So as a referee, you have to be on top of that.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because technically you can only now toss the center for some sort of a face-off violation, like not following an instruction. Yep. One of the players encroaches. These are the things you can toss them. You can't really toss them for a late line change or a bad line change.
What you have to do right away is go over there and talk to the coach about it.
Yep. And then next, it's going to be a delay a game. That's really the way it's supposed to work. I still see people removing the centers, and I mean everybody calls for the first thing you hear the other team, kick the center. No, it doesn't work like that. We have to deal with it. So, a lot of people don't know that rule had changed, and it's been changed for like 5 years now, I think, right?
It's been a while.
I mean, it wasn't on this rule. It was the rule change before that, and that's 4 years. So we're 5 years into that. Everybody should kind of know that one.
And from what it was explained to me, one team figured out that they could basically get a free timeout by just getting their player kicked out over and over again in the 3rd period. That's all they were doing, just resting guys.
Until you go over there and give them their warning and take care of it.
Yep. But that's why they changed it according to what I was told. Yeah. Because I asked, because I'm like, well, I don't understand. And I go, what, did somebody figure it out? They're like, yeah, somebody did it. And I think it was at Nationals. So it was on the hockey TV or whatever they put it on nowadays.
Yeah.
So
everything changes from Nationals, according to you guys. That's when, they find everything that they want to address, and it becomes rule changes when they see the situations occur. So.
I hear you. But you know what? They just get a national. There's a lot of people there, and that's where they also get talked about, too. Because there's a lot of people in that building, and then it becomes a talking point, and then people are like, maybe we should change this. That's a good question by Karen.
Yeah, Karen. Karen asks, in the 4-man, if a ref goes to talk to a coach, who is supposed to join them?
The linesman. The linesman that's closest.
Linesman nearby should come over. And it shouldn't be like join them, like go face. The linesman still needs to watch all the players. All he's doing is going over there, so he's an extra ear to hear what's being discussed.
Yeah,
deciding on where you guys are going to have dinner after the game.
Well, it's to avoid the he said, she said issues.
Exactly.
Plus, also, as a linesman, as you're listening to the conversation, you can tell if that conversation is going well.
Yeah.
If it's going in circles, if the referee is starting to get agitated, you might want to whap the referee in the leg and be like, come on, let's go.
That's a good time to get him out of there and just let's move on.
Yep. So you're there for two reasons. And then, put your back to him, just like you said, Scott. There's nothing for you. You're not involved in the conversation. Don't talk. Because, by the time you get over there, you don't know what the referee said. That's the biggest thing. So you could totally derail what he's saying on the slightest, most innocent comment. So just go over there, listen, and, even if they ask your input, just be like, I'm lying and I don't know. Because, again, you don't know what the referee said, so we want to have each other's backs throughout the game. Now, if you're the linesman and you know that referee's wrong afterwards, let's talk about this. But other than that, you got to get through that game and that contest.
Yep. And, that conversation, depending on what the nature of it is, does it take place between periods? Does it go back to the ref room after the game? But, if you know something is not right, address it. It's a learning process for everybody.
With the cameras nowadays that they have in the rinks, talk about it in the locker room.
Yeah. And if you do have to have a conversation, the lip readers.
Yeah, there are people that get paid for it, but you can hear me right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it just depends on where you are. Some of those microphones, some of them you can't hear anything, honestly.
Some of them
There's some of them
it's
just crowd noise. You can't hear a thing. I don't care what part of the building you're in. You can't hear a thing. Even if somebody is actually like shouting at somebody, like they're having a conversation from a distance, you're not going to get it. Other places, you're going to hear everything. So
there was a rink that I was looking into something. It was an accusation against the referee on what they said. So I'm sitting there and I got my headset turned up all the way because you can barely hear anybody talking in this rink, and it's a new rink and I've never skated in it yet. So all of a sudden, during the course of play, this slap shot goes off the scorekeeper box in the front. The camera is right above it, I guess. And it hit that thing. I wasn't really paying attention, just listening. Yeah. And my ears were like, ring. I'm like, wow, okay. So I better turn these down. So, but that was shocking when that happened. So, but some of them were good, some of them were bad.
All right, you got anything else you want to cover before we call it a day here?
I don't. I think we've had a good compliance. The referees have really stepped it up. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us at this different time.
Yes, thanks to everybody. 5:30 on Mondays. Do you guys like the time? Put a comment in there. Is this a good time for you, or do you think we should be on later? Because should we be on earlier? We can't really be on earlier because we just can't, but we could do later in the evening if that worked for everybody. It just kind of depends. But we thought 5:30 was kind of a happy medium in case you want to grab a later game or a men's league game. I know we have a lot of people that work on Monday nights. They're skating games. I mean, this is going to affect my schedule as well. But I figured with 5:30, I could still at least get a men's league game on a Monday night or late game. So it won't be so bad. But I don't know that we're going to be able to do next Monday because I do have games scheduled before we had made this time decision. So we may have to skip a week here. Just a heads up, I'll see. We'll put the notifications up, check the Facebook group, and also check YouTube. We'll have everything up there. Replays are always on YouTube, youtube.com/c/refroom. And that's it. I mean, Happy New Year, everybody. Glad you survived. We're here for another one. The season is moving so fast, I can't believe it. I mean, we're going to be in playoffs by middle of next month already, which is just hard to believe.
Very soon. Very soon.
Yeah, so. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next Monday. One more comment just came in here. Sebastian says, great time. I love it. It's like having a dinner with you guys. Great show. Thanks for that, Sebastian.
Thanks.
We might have to have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for dinner over.
I don't know about that one.
Maybe pizza slices. We'll do pizza slices.
I'll give you something that I don't like. We'll figure something out.
Okay, very good. All right, guys, have a great week, and we'll see you next Monday, 5:30 p.m. on Monday nights. From the Ref Room, I'm Scott Smokin, Silz, and Brad Baumruck. I can't even say that, man. It's too late at night. See, I'm not used to this. I'm not as fresh.